Hello and welcome. It is the Real Estate 360 show today. This is Steve Conley, hashtag unemployable. And
this is Jason O. Myles, hashtag the real estate trainer. Steve, today I'm coming straight to you from my backyard.
That is a fabulous looking backyard. Man, I have one question.
Yes,
when did you move?
I you know what? I just built it this morning.
It's great, man.
Yeah, you know what? Boys and their toys. What can I say?
You know, it's not a real big improvement over what you got. So,
man,
that's a new pool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. So, Steve, we've had quite a week in the world of real estate and finance. Quite a week indeed.
Yes, sir.
How have you been dealing, with all of the changes and inconsistencies right now that we're seeing?
Oh, well, I guess the biggest thing that I've been doing is watching a lot of Monk on TV.
Yes, that's the safest place to be right now.
I'm kidding, right? I do watch a little bit of Monk every now and then, but seriously, I guess I've been pretty active in just doing different things. We've talked about the setting up of the CoOp Marketing. We're on television in 2 markets right now. We started that last Thursday and Friday. We're on Fox 5 locally here in the Metro Atlanta area. And we're on a couple stations down in the panhandle. We got tons and tons of bandit signs out. Mm-hmm. I'm kicking off the social media marketing for Will Buy. Friday, we actually posted all of our stuff yesterday on YouTube. We set up the accounts and loaded up the videos, and we'll be finishing that up in those 2 markets Friday. It takes a little time to process through YouTube. Looking at just taking inventory, taking inventory of where we are and what we're doing and all the resources, and talking to other people, seeing what their viewpoints are. Mm-hmm. Remind me to talk about the conversation I had Monday with one of our heavy cash guys. He bought one of our apartment buildings, and let's talk about that for a little bit, and maybe how to take inventory of where each of us are. Maybe if you're in the real estate market or as an investor or want to be, take some inventory of what you have, and then we can kind of couple that with, picking your position and all that.
Yeah. See, I call that, when you say take inventory, I have another phrase that I use for that, and it's not coming to my mind right now.
Well, I know when it does, it'll be better than taking inventory.
No. It's the same. It's because it's understanding what your attributes are, basically, right? So when you're getting involved in real estate, for instance, you're brand new, it's right now, it's just something that you want to do, right? But you don't really know what you want to do. Well, what you have is going to kind of dictate what you can do right now, right? So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you don't have any money and you don't have any credit, you don't have a job, so you have all the time in the world, you just don't have any money or any credit, but you have time. So your attribute is your time. So how do you use that attribute wisely? How do you use that to better suit you or to better help you get to where you want to go? Obviously, you have to be a wholesaler, right?
Right.
So, but there's like more than one way to wholesale, though.
Well, you don't have to do that. I mean, I think a lot of it, wherever we are at the moment, has everything to do with our particular belief systems. I mean, you could jump right in and start doing buy, fix, and flip if you wanted to, whether you have money or not. other people have money. Just because you don't have any money doesn't mean other people don't have money, and they're looking for something to do with that money.
Absolutely.
And so you pair up, the resources, which is, hey man, maybe I have a whole lot of time and you have a whole lot of money. Let's just work together and buy, fix and flip and join something.
Under that scenario, I would never, ever, ever, ever tell someone who, talking about me, that hasn't done a deal to jump into a fix and flip because they know Jane Doe over here that's got $100,000 cash, and they read a couple of our books and watched a couple of our programs. I would never tell them to jump into a fix and flip for their first deal unless they were working, consulting with someone that had extensive experience. That's the only way that I would tell them to do it.
That is a very wise statement.
Yeah.
We've got this one guy that I'm working with, one of our private lenders. He just started really lending when I kind of, actually Bob Rich brought him to the table, and he met with me, and I kind of explained to him how this works. And then he finally got that. But so he wants to do fix and flips, or he wants to try to control the fix and flips. And I'm thinking, how many of fix and flips have you actually done? Where you bought the property, you fixed it, and then you sold it and you made a profit. And the answer to that is zero. He hasn't done any. But he wants to try to tell me how to run the thing. I said, look, man, I don't have time to try to get, the tail cannot wag the dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So,
but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens so frequently. And that's why we see a lot of people failing in that particular space. So many people want to rush to do what they see on television, because it looks glamorous, it looks fun. Who wouldn't like to drive around the city all day and, look at houses and make offers and pick tile and countertops, flooring options. I mean, it sounds really fun, but it doesn't work that way. And hey, doing a 60-day flip and you're spending $80,000 to do it is, if you don't have things already set up, I mean, it takes 3 weeks to get your kitchen cabinets.
Right.
So it's like, if we want to be done in 60 days, we already have to know the cabinets we're ordering them in week 1. They're sitting, we've got everything stockpiled because, hey, just scheduling some of these mechanicals, some of the, like electrical and HVAC and plumbing, just scheduling them sometimes can be a week or a week and a half wait. People don't really understand that. I mean, television, all of it is scripted, even the news that we watch or the infotainment that we watch, it's all scripted. So you have to run your business. You have to understand.
Yeah.
And I think it's our job, Steve. I think we're obligated to help people understand that this is real. This isn't television. And there are processes that need to be followed. Now, everybody's going to have their own unique method to do it.
Right.
But it is essential that you understand what it is you need to do, starting with taking inventory and understanding what your attributes are so that you can actually start effectively and grow your business to the place that you want it to be, because it's different for all of us.
I want to talk more about the understanding what your assets are and taking inventory. But, I had a realization a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually right here on this show that I had a realization about.
I want to know more about that.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I've been waiting patiently over here for you to ask me that. People say that they want to be in the real estate business, and they say, yeah, man, I really like, coming in and doing these renovations and stuff. And the realization that I had was, that's not what they're saying at all. And you just said it. And that's what made me think about it, is they really want to decorate. They know how to decorate a house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. They want to decorate because all the stuff that happens with these, and you and I know probably better than most in dealing with a lot of new investors, that even when you build in your contingencies, there are things that show up completely unexpected, above and beyond that. Look at now. We've got people that are going to be investors that are going to lose their houses because a lot of these hard money lenders are not giving them any break through this shutdown.
That's right.
And this is all over the country. People can't get permits because government offices are closed and reopening at different paces. But that's really going towards talking a little bit about the hardship that's happening, but it's also talking about the opportunity that's presenting itself. Because you can pick these things up from folks that are in trouble, or if you have a little cash, you can partner with them and kind of streamline the process because they're already in and they've already started.
Exactly. And you mentioned it there. This is a challenging situation, but it's fraught, and I'm using that word, with opportunity.
Yes, it is.
It's like, oh my gosh, diamonds in your own backyard. And so let's kind of take advantage of that. And to take advantage of that, you have to understand where you are at this moment. So that means take the inventory of where you are. What are your assets? What do you personally like to do? You like to decorate houses? Great. There's a place for that. Or you like to market, or you like to do whatever. And we'll talk about that when we come back after this break.
We'll Buy Your House. Click 833willbuy.com. That's 833WELLBUY.com.
Or call 833-WILL-BUY.
Se habla español. Llámanos. Call us today.
Hello. It is the Real Estate 360 show. We're back. Jason Myles, what's going on? We're talking about taking inventory. You want to talk about that?
I do, but first, I had to step in the house. It's a little cold outside. I had to get into one of the sitting areas in my mansion. Yes.
that white sofa there, it goes really nice with the carpet.
Yeah. Listen, I wanted to just take an opportunity, as always, to thank people, really, really, really thank people for downloading and subscribing to the podcast, sharing it. We see a lot of that going on. Please continue to do so. We like the fact that you like what we're giving you. So continue to support us, continue to listen, continue to comment, engage, tell us what you like, what you don't like, as always. Share it with people that need to hear this information, because listen, if you're feeding yourself something over and over again, it becomes repetitious for you. It becomes easier for you to do. So if you have a desire to do this, or a desire to do it better, or a desire to build relationships in real estate, because these are the things that we talk about on the Real Estate 360 show, please continue to do so. And also make sure you go to realestate360show.com, see what we have coming up. Yeah, it's right down there. See what we have coming up. We've got some really interesting events coming up for you guys very shortly. Educational programs that you can take advantage of. And we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that and communicating with us. So, having said that, do you have the ability, the willingness to invest in real estate? What are your attributes? Have you taken the inventory to understand what your attributes are, so you know what you want to do and where you want to start right now? That's what we need to talk about. That's what we need to talk about.
That's perfect. Yes. Taking inventory. And really, when I was thinking about this inventory thing, I'm thinking about kind of physical assets in terms of what you mentioned earlier was time, and of course money and knowledge and information and experience all, go into that. Contacts, people, hard money lenders, contractors, realtors, insurance people, those are all, physical assets. But you also mentioned that I hadn't really thought about was, okay, what are your physical attributes, your mental attributes rather, of what it is you like to do personally or don't like to do, or maybe something that you're really, really good at. And what your assets are mentally. I know what mine are mentally. And so we take all that into consideration and pair that up with what position do you want to be in, whether you're just starting in this right now or whether you've been in it for a long time. Maybe this is a great time to, step back just a little bit and reassess what you're doing. I know I'm doing that.
Well, for sure. And Steve, the best leaders in the world throughout history were people that could recognize their weaknesses. Okay. They recognized their weaknesses. And the very first thing they did was to go out and find people that were stronger where they were weakest. And they leaned on them. I mean, Steve Jobs is a great example of that. Steve Jobs was a marketer. He was a visionary, but he was a visionary here. He was a coder, yes, but he had to hire the best coders to do some of the stuff that Apple created later on. He didn't do any of that. He just had a vision of being able to use your finger to write on a screen. you know?
He just ran around and saw stuff. He said, wow, wouldn't that be good over here?
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be good over there?
Yeah.
And you know what that is? That's taking inventory and looking at your resources.
That's right.
Pulling all that together. He's got coders over there. He's got ideas and processes over here. He just puts it all together and creates Apple.
That's exactly right. So, and we're not saying, you guys go out right now and have this pie in the sky idea. But what we are saying is it's great to have the idea of what you want to do. In most businesses, the person that had the idea to start that business initially was hands-on, but not in all. More often than not, they're the finger pointer. They're the person that connects the dots, right? They're the person that understands 6 degrees of separation. I can get to anyone. I can do anything through my existing network. And no matter where you are, no matter who you are, that is true. You may say right now, well, I don't have any money and I don't have any credit. I don't know anyone that does real estate, but I guarantee you that you know someone that knows someone that can connect you with the person you need to talk to.
Well, if they are listening to this or watching this, then they know at least 2 people.
That part.
Who do real estate. So what are the positions possibly? 'Cause, you can take your own inventory. You know what that is, and all I'm saying is, don't limit your thinking to what it is you think you have or what it is you think you don't have, because everything's out there. Just because you don't have any money doesn't mean other people don't have money that they're looking to deploy.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got out of college and I went into the furniture business as a manager trainee, because that's what I wanted to do, and I said, okay, this is going to be fun. And that's the reason I did it. So not too long into that training, if you will, manager training session, my manager pulled me over and said, hey, listen, Steve, I got to tell you something. And, I wasn't making very much money in this manager training thing. So he said, listen, Steve, if just because you don't have any money doesn't mean these people coming into the store don't have any money. And I said, holy crap.
That's right.
That was very intuitive of that guy. He knew what I was thinking, or by the way I was acting, I guess. And so that made a big impression on me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what it is. When I was rebuilding the business this time around, right? After the crash.
Now stop it. Just stop that.
AC, right? AC, after the crash. And we had to start with nothing. And I would go in my beat up Saturn Psy 2-door with a 5-gallon bucket behind my seat because the seat was broken. Had to hold it up, otherwise I'd be laying down driving. I would drive that to every hotel networking event, every networking event I could get to. I would take that car because that was my mode of transportation. I didn't have any money. And I'm there networking with people, seeing what they want to do, looking for the person who has what I'm lacking at the time, and developing a relationship with them so that we can do business together, so that both of us could to get could get further and get what it was we wanted out of these deals. And of course that happens because we put ourselves there mentally. We know it's going to happen. It's not a question of if, it's just a matter of when.
Two quick comments. Earlier you said you're not suggesting that people come up with this pie in the sky idea. Now, I would suggest that you come up with a pie in the sky idea and a vision where you want to be, and hold that vision sternly in your mind and keep it there, because that's where you'll end up. So.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with wanting it to be as big as it can possibly be, bigger than you can imagine, because the reality of it is I have my goals written right there. I look at them all the time. And I think I've had this conversation with you before, Steve. I don't know if we've had it on the air, but when I started to write my goals down, I blew past them in 4 months, my annual goals.
Right.
So I revamped it, and I blew past it 2 months before the year was over. And I said to myself right then and there is no way I'm looking at this big picture. I am not thinking big enough.
Right. Exactly.
So I had to, do exactly what you're saying and throw it up there, because when you write it, when you speak it, you wind up living it.
Mine are right here.
That's right. That's right, man. And that's what we do. I mean, that's really what it is. And it starts with understanding where you are. Do you want to get involved in real estate? Yes. Why do we know? Because you're listening to this. So understand what kind of revenues do you make? Do you have a job? What kind of cash do you have in reserve to invest in real estate? Do you have any? What kind of time do you have available to you if you have a job? If you have 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, do you not have a job and you have all week, and what do you do with that time?
Yeah. And what you did was you took your inventory of what you had. So you had a Saturn, you had a 5-gallon bucket.
That's right.
And you had
time,
the willingness and the eagerness to get the hell out of that Saturn.
A lot of time. A lot of time.
But now you take your inventory, and then what do? You pick your position that you want to be in. So certainly create the vision of what it looks like when you have created the success that you want to be and are living the life that you wish. And then you pick your position, and then watch as the universe unfolds the things that you need. Of course, I'm not saying don't get in that Saturn and run around to all the networking meetings, because you should, because that's fun to do, right? You
for
had
some,
doing
for
that.
Some.
Didn't you?
For some, I some people will call me a social butterfly, but not so much. I just want to get to work. But in our line of work, especially for what we're doing now, we have to be those social butterflies to a certain extent. We have to go out and meet new people and have very specific conversations, because that's what's elevating us to the next level and the next level, and so on and so forth.
All right, well, let's take a break, and then we'll talk about picking your position.
Do you need to sell your house? Well, our company will buy your house. We make the process very fast, very easy, and it's all cash. All you have to do is give us a call today.
We'll buy your house. Click 833willbuy.com. That's 833willbuy.com.
Or call 833-WILL-BUY.
Se habla español, llámanos, call us today.
And we are back, Real Estate 360, Jason Myles.
Hey, man. Steve.
Yes.
We talk a lot about being able to work wherever you are, and developing other markets, places that we know there's opportunity, but maybe not a lot of other people do it. Maybe not a lot of other people are looking there, or maybe people just think, and I know we've spoke about this before, because we spoke about where you started your real estate career, right? People sometimes don't think that you can make money in secondary markets, or especially today in markets that are used for recreational purposes primarily, but not only, but we know that, but not everyone else does.
Yes, but before we jump into this, because we've diverged a little bit from where we said we were going to be when we left the second segment.
Yes, we did.
We said we were going to talk about what's your position, but we have a special guest that kind of called in spur of the moment.
That's right.
Mr. Cody Hanson.
Cody.
So
how we doing, guys?
And you're just talking about the secondary market, and Cody is actually our man in Florida, the panhandle. And so we've been doing that marketing we were talking about earlier, which is the TV, the bandit signs, and soon to be the social media. So Cody, say hi to everybody.
How we doing, guys?
Hey, man.
Fantastic.
So, like Steve said, Cody, we're talking a lot about secondary markets. We're talking about right now about specifically people picking their attributes. But we know for sure that a lot of times people feel, and I know you can piggyback on this, that being in a primary market like Atlanta, sometimes people can feel that it's a bit oversaturated, and they start to look at other areas, right?
100% agree. That's the whole reason I kind of concentrated my efforts back in Florida, with being in Atlanta, Cobb and Gwinnett and Fulton County. Everywhere you turn, there's a real estate investor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's the main reason I concentrated my efforts back down in the Panhandle. It's where I'm originally from. The competition down here isn't as fierce, and me having having a good hustle mentality about me, I can get out here and, lock down the deals, hands-on, feet on the ground down here, whereas I'm not fighting 1,000 plus investors in the metro Atlanta area.
That's correct. So another important thing to understand is when people think of Pensacola and Panama, people that don't live there or close to there, they think of that as a recreational area, right? They think, oh, that's where we're going to take our vacation, or we're going to have a weekend getaway there. That's what a lot of people think about. But what people don't think about is the day-to-day activity, the actual people that live there, the lifestyle that they have. And what we're doing is taking advantage, not necessarily of the vacation rental stuff or whatever. We're taking advantage of what's existing, and hey, listen, if somebody wants to buy a beach house from us, a lake house, or a vacation home to turn it into a rental or whatever, then that's great. But that's not what our focus is down there, is it?
No, definitely not. Just like any other city, small or large, you have day-to-day necessities down here. One of the largest being the military community. Pensacola has three or four military bases: NAS, Corey, the Exchange. That's such a large presence. So not only do you have those families that are constantly coming in, you have a huge influx of new people needing housing, but you also have houses that come back on the market after a year of being purchased. I'm actually in the process of doing a subject to deal with that exact situation. Military family came in a year later, got new orders, they got to go somewhere else. So you have that. Of course, the the short-term rentals and the renter arbitrage that goes into the Airbnb, VRBO vacation rental stuff. That's all fine and dandy, but Florida is a great place to live. I mean, who doesn't want to wake up and see the beach every day and have the salty smell in the air?
That's right.
Cody, tell us about the bandit signs.
That is a sign that I found. I don't know whose sign that is. But
what do you
from
mean
what I understand,
you don't know whose it is?
Because it's a bandit sign. See, from what I understand, this guy buys houses. He's a cash buyer. He pays full price. 850-325-0635. Bandit signs, exactly what it says. You got to put on a mask. You got to go out at night, stake your sign in the ground. These things are amazing. I get calls weekly, due to the COVID-19 situation. Things did slow down a little bit. I still got a lot of calls, but bandit signs, exactly what they say. You put a sign out with a sign, investor-friendly sign, we buy houses. You get a lot of leads. People call you wanting to know exactly what the process is. Also, for wholesalers, it's a tool to find active buyers in the area as well. I don't use it for that because I don't want, acquisition and disposition. Disposition is a great side of this thing, but the bandit signs for me is all about acquisition, generating quality leads, helping people, giving them an avenue to contact me. A lot of people are scared of TV commercials. They don't want to call the big, bad guy on TV that says we buy the houses, but they will call these signs. And so I've just noticed that these are a great tool, a great avenue to generate solid leads. And that's kind of where I'm at with those.
But Cody, you are on television. And so, you don't come across as like a big company. You're just like, hey, we buy houses, look at me. I'm a regular kind of guy. And easy to talk to. Call me. We'll help with any situation, right?
Yeah, that's true. No, definitely. I'm probably the nicest person I know besides Mr. Myles back there in terms of big guys. A lot of people get intimidated by our side, and that's correct. I'm on TV. And that's because, we're trying to reach a broad spectrum of sellers. We're trying to solve problems for people that have real estate solutions. People have properties, they don't know what to do. They're not familiar with short sales, or they're not familiar with what to do when they get in these situations with these houses that are distressed. So me being on TV, that is correct. But the bandit sign, in my frame of thought, it's psychological. I am local. Call me. A lot of people know me. I get a lot of word of mouth. But the bandit signs just come in really handy when they see those. I started out handwriting them, which I think personally is the best way to do it. People love handwritten signs. They're more apt to call them. That's kind of why the text on these signs are, handwritten script.
Let me talk about Cody a little bit. You haven't been in the business that long. You've been in it for what, a little over a year now?
Yeah, 2 years, October.
2 years. Okay. So, but you came from buying and selling stuff, like cars and trucks and motorcycles and that kind of thing. But, to listen to Cody and to watch him, you would think this guy's been around for a decade. I mean, he's got it going on.
Well, Steve, that's because two things, Cody is different than a lot of other people. Cody is someone that's going to get, 10 toes in the dirt right away. He's not going to overanalyze things. He's not going to wait till he knows everything about a thing. Cody tried, I don't know, probably 10 different marketing techniques. Am I right, Cody?
Yes, I still try everything that I hear about. The magic real estate pill. Yeah.
Right. So with you, it's that attitude, it's the mentality that separates him really from, 99% of the others that are not willing to put themselves out there and take advantage of it. We were talking about attributes and taking inventory, personal inventory about our personal attributes, not just how much money we have and credit and so on and so forth, but in taking inventory of yourself, you understood, I got hustle, I got game, and I'm going to use that to get where I'm trying to get, because I'm going to get there by hook or by crook. And that's exactly what you did.
Cody came. Go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say on what Myles was saying, if you don't move your feet, you don't eat.
That's right. And there we go.
Cody came to us through one of our training sessions, and we want to talk, Myles, you and I want to talk about that in a minute after this next set of commercials. But Cody, what else do you want to tell everybody?
We got 30 seconds before our hard break.
You know what? They say real estate isn't for everybody. That's right. It's not for everybody. But if you've got hustle and drive, you can make a great life in this. Also, if you guys have houses for sale, I know a guy that buys them. I know a couple of guys that buy them.
Good.
Well, thanks, man.
Good ending. All right, we'll be back.
Hi, this is Sammy with Sammy Hadid Real Estate, Keller Williams. Are you looking for a top producing agent who will look out for your best interests? Top dollar on the sale of your home, a well-negotiated contract, an efficient closing? Please call me at 305-978-4249. I'm more than happy to set up a consultation. I'll put together a proposal for you to net top dollar for your home, what it is that I'm doing to get all my homes sold. Then you can decide what's best for you. Again, I'll do whatever it takes to get your home sold for top dollar, and I promise you that I will protect your equity with my life. 305-978-4249. Sammy Hadid, Hadid.
Guess what? We're back. It's Real Estate 360. Mr. Myles. So we've been talking about inventory, taking your inventory. We've been talking about pick your position, decide what it is you'd like to do and do that. The money will come after you figure out what it is you just love to do, because guess what? You're not working anymore. You're doing
right.
what you love to do. And
That's
so
exactly right.
do that, then you want to learn more, you want to do more, you want to get better at it. You get excited about it. And so once you get all that, then where do you go for more information?
Well, Steve, we have spent a long time educating people on how to do real estate. Now, I don't want this to sound like we are a bunch of, the hotel room, big gala thing, the big budget stuff. That's not really what our style is. Our style is more of a consulting thing and sharing information and processes. I mean, like you mentioned before, Cody came to one of our events, and it wasn't this major thing. It wasn't this big Hollywood production with, wind machines and lights and the wacky, wavy, inflatable arm flailing tube man. None of that exists. You know what I'm saying? We're just sharing information with people and processes. Fortunately for the people that are working with us, we can share stuff that they may not have thought about because we've done so much. We can talk about this industry all around the country because we've had a chance to do it. We've had a chance to invest in every part of this country, and we continue to do that. I mean, we've got deals in St. Louis. We've got deals in California. We've got deals in Indianapolis. They come from everywhere. South Carolina.
Deals in
Tennessee.
Florida.
Deals in Florida. That's what we do, right, Cody? And Cody, you came to one of those events. What was your
I did.
And what was your take on that from the way we delivered the information as well as what other people there, because that was geared towards people that were way more beginner than you.
Yeah, that's correct. So I knew when I saw you on Facebook that I wanted to see, because we all know, and we've heard the same thing over and over, your network is your network. And so I knew it was going to be more of a networking event for me. And I think I even mentioned when I met you that, hey, I probably know everything you're about to say. I'm more about getting out there and meeting people in the industry. And thank God I did, because a year later, look where I'm at. I'm actually partnered with you guys.
That's right.
I came with a guy, a really great guy, Justin Shipp. He's doing big things out there in Douglasville and stuff like that. He's the one that actually I watched to do this. We came together, and I came in. It was donuts and bottled waters and like some fruit.
Yeah.
It wasn't a super big Wizard of Oz production.
That's right.
And I think 22, 25 people-ish. It was super tight knit. You had a feeling that everybody was going to get a chance to talk if you had a question to ask. You didn't have 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 people that were sitting there watching your 10X production. You had people that were getting quality answers and quality time. All you had to do was raise your hand And then you got to talk to Steve and Jason, who have done millions and millions and millions of dollars in deals in every corner of this country. And that's pretty much my take on it. I hope that answered your question.
100%. So, and now, Cody, what we're doing is we're taking a lot of the stuff that we've done over the years. We've had a chance to work with a lot of the gurus and write content for a lot of the gurus over the past 15 years, 16 years. And instead of doing that and watching, grandmothers come to these events and spend $40,000, $50,000 knowing that they're not going to go and wholesale, right? Instead of doing that, we've taken that information that we've created, we've modified it, updated it, and said, okay, listen, we're not going to sell you an education package. We're going to give you consulting work. Here it is. Here's a pre-recorded consulting package, a couple different ones, and then we have live ones if you want to take part in them. And it's as simple as that, with free downloads and all kind of great information. I'm talking hours and hours and hours of information. We're talking right now, the collective programs are at like 40 something, hours. It's a lot of information. And the good thing about it is it isn't something that you've got to learn in a weekend. It's something that you can absorb at your pace. You walk through the steps, and if you need to go back and revisit it and ask questions, you can do that. You can do that as often as you want to. It's yours. It belongs to you. And my biggest thing, knowing how difficult it was to get started. And when I started, man, I couldn't get anybody to give me any information and walk me through stuff. I had to just read it and figure it out. I wasn't aware of the networking groups and the RIAs at the time. It just wasn't something that was on my radar. So for me, it was truly trial and error, knocking on doors, getting, I had an old lady pull a shotgun on me one time. Get off my porch. She didn't even own the house. She had lived there so long, she felt like she did. The owner actually sent me over there. But those are the kind of things that happen. I mean, we all have a ton of funny stories, right, about whatever in this business. And you're going to have those, but you have to have the education. You have to have the know-how, and you've got to be a part of a group to some extent. You've got to be a part of a group that you can bounce information off of. You can get your questions answered. If you don't have that, man, it's going to be tough on you out there.
Yeah, definitely. This is not an industry that you can fake it till you make it in. If you don't have some concept of the steps that you need to take on how to structure a deal, then you're never going to make it. The biggest thing that I love about this industry is the creative deal-making strategies you learn from people that you never would have heard of. I had some questions before we had actually partnered, me, you, and Steve, about a sub-2 deal that I had. I wasn't sure if what I was doing was 100% legal, but it turns out it was 120% legal because it's a contractual agreement. Stuff like that, you wouldn't get these answers off of YouTube University. You actually have to know people, and you have to be out there networking with people, and you need the education from people that know what they're doing. So that's exactly what I got from you and Steve, and that's what obviously you're offering, to the masses.
One of the things I like to tell people is, this is like riding a bike. You can't read a book on how to ride a bike. I mean, you can buy the book and read the book on how to ride a bike, but you're never going to know how to ride that bike until you actually get on that bike and work out those little intricate muscles that you need to help you keep your balance. So real estate is the exact same way. The negotiation process, the fine little dance that you're doing to know when it's time to be quiet, to know when it's time to insert a question or a statement. You can't know those things until you do those things. It's impossible. It's just impossible. And Steve has become an absolute Jedi master at that over his, few years of investing.
Well, that's true. I want to say something about riding a bike. I got my bike out, got some air in the tires, and I started riding it Monday. Oh my God, that was incredibly difficult. Now, I'm not talking about the process of staying on the bike. I'm talking about the muscles necessary to pedal that thing. Unbelievable. I went around the block. It's 0.8 miles on a bicycle. I swear to God, I came home and I had to take a nap. That was exhausted.
The biggest question is, were you riding for dollars? Did you find
That's right. That's right.
I was riding for muscle tone or something. I was trying
It's a lot different than that dirt bike, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, that thing wore me out. It took a couple hours. But, we're not
guys,
bikes really, but we are.
That's right.
Real estate. And, what I'm noticing is that, Cody loves the bandit signs and they get results for him. And Myles, you love the direct mail because that works. That's where you feel like you get the best results. I love the multimedia, the television, the radio, and
absolutely. And those are the best. Those are the best. But that group branding, Steve. Yeah. For the way we do it, I mean, we have developed a brand. And that brand is all about understanding the numbers, understanding who is selling it. And because we're not just buying a list and marketing to that list, we have a very specific, criteria that we look for because of the information that we've gathered from all the years of having done this. So when people see you on the television and they see you online on whatever social media and they hear you on the radio and they see a letter or a flyer with the same logo on it, to people that see that, these guys have been around for a long time. They're absolutely everywhere. They must be doing something right. Let me have a conversation with them because we need to sell this house.
What I learned, maybe the only thing I learned when I was at the University of Georgia in the journalism school was marketing mix. When you do a marketing mix, which meant back then that meant, newspaper, television, and radio. But now it's newspaper, bandit signs, radio, TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever else, is out there. So the marketing mix has gotten a whole new definition in my point of view.
That's right.
And it's important if you're building a brand to do that.
It sure is. Now, listen, I want to make sure that I want to thank everybody for coming out, listening.
I want to thank Cody for getting on here last minute. Thanks, Cody, for taking your valuable time.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys visit the podcast, Real Estate 360 as well. Realestate360show.com. Thanks, Cody, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, guys.